me take a minute to introduce Dr. Simha first. He is a CTO of ABIBA Systems. He has been with REVA University's REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence as Chief Mentor. So Dr. Simha is going to talk to you about the exciting opportunities of applying Moneyball in HR. So over to you, Dr. Simha. Looking forward to a very engaging session.
Thanks, Professor. Thank you everyone for joining today's seminar. In fact, it's very interesting. After 20 years of working with so-called analytics, AI, and all those things, normally I used to work with getting profit for our customers. But when it comes to HR, we were always thinking that this is the last frontier. So in fact, if some organization is working, it is because of its employees. You just remove the employees, the company do not exist. It's as simple as that. So that's why we do not want to call it as the employee driven organization. Rather, it is the human resource. In fact, now it has become human capital. Do you agree? So it is human capital. It's the human capital which drives the company. But what kind of human capital is likely to drive the company? Forget about the company. Now let's think about the games. Probably you might have heard about the Moneyball movie, the Moneyball novel. They're all good. In fact, it's a real life case study. It's not some kind of movie that is made out of fiction. It's a non-fiction. It actually happened. And the Billy Bean, the manager who built that, is still alive. And the Harvard graduate who was in analytics is still alive, and they're doing fine. So what exactly is this Moneyball? If you look at it, normally, before going to Moneyball, it's necessary for us to understand how do we do decisions. The decisions will be generally in terms of, okay, I'm the senior manager, I'm the CMO, I'm the CRO, I'm the CHO, whatever it is. I know what I'm doing. It's my gut experience. They will go on arguing. Currently, it's a kind of art. It is not a science, because science is repeatable. Art is not. We have not had Ravi Verma, Van Gogh, or anybody now, but we have multiple physicists, multiple engineers, because science and engineering are repeatable. So the repeatability comes from evidence, and that evidence comes from data. We can go on arguing. This is correct, that is correct, this is what I think, this is what the industry did. All those things are good. We can discuss all those things. But at the end of the day, unless you give the data, we are discussing hypothetical things, nothing more than that. It has not happened. Can we take something which has happened? Absolutely, we can take what has happened. Now, if you look at this, Moneyball is not a fiction. In fact, his name is Billy Bean, which has been, he's the general manager of the Oakland Athletics. At one point of time, the New York Yankees were the best of the baseball, but the Oakland Athletics was doing okay, not in the lowest cadre, not in the top, because they had the payroll problem. They cannot have the stars because the stars cost a bomb. They cannot have the stars. Is it necessary for us to have the stars to play, to get the best out of them, or to win the match? In fact, that exactly is what the question is. The question is, what is the objective? What is the question? The question is, what should I do to win? So what should I do to win depends on how do we look at it. How do we look at what are the factors which are contributing to winning the game? So what he has done is he became a fan of sabermetrics, which is nothing but the statistics about the basketball, baseball, XYZ, and things like that. Now, sabermetrics gives everything what has been played in a game by a player, by defense, by offense, whatever it is. All the metrics are available. In fact, most of the times we have been given, you take these 500 KPIs, you can run the organization well. You take these 500 KPIs, the sports team can do best. No, it is not necessary. It is not necessary. So what he did was, he took the data which is available to everyone, but he took a different lens. His perspective was different. He was looking at the same data with a different set of questions. He was not asking, can I build the best players? Can I get the best players to my team? Rather, he was looking at something else, because everybody else was looking at something else. So what was the most important baseball statistic? Team batting average? how this team is doing? Runs batted in a particular over or in a particular game, or a half wave, or pitches on run averages? What exactly is important? Is it based on the percentage, or is it based on the characteristic of a player? In fact, most of the time when I argue with my friends, they should allow us to run the Indian cricket team or the Indian hockey team, and things like that should not be driven by IPL or somebody else. We are not interested. We will take the responsibility of, if we are not winning, we need not have to be paid. So if we are winning, we have to be paid. But currently it is not there. It is more like they will get more money because of the advertisement than by playing the game. So in such cases, we would like to see what exactly are the characteristics of the player which is to be taken into consideration to build a best team. That exactly is the question they were trying to solve. Now, traditionally, what they look at is what is the speed and how athletic they are, how fit they are, what is the ability to hit, appearance, confidence. Okay, good. Somebody XYZ is the best and he has been taken for 20 advertisements. He must be good. No, it is not necessary. But what really matters is the ability to get to the base. In cricket, it is ability to take more wickets. It's the ability to do runs, score runs. So we can look at it. We had to look at only two factors. Those two factors are consistency and above average performance. These two are more than sufficient. And that's what we are looking at. So if we look at this, Moneyball started with these questions and he moved on to the next. So what he found was that most of them are overvalued. We are paying more than what is necessary because he is star, because he demands, because if I lose some of these players, we may not get the advertisement, we may not get our team cheers or team supporters. So if that is the case, what to do? So in fact, what he came out with was, instead of getting all the stars, try to get the guys who are fit to do what they are doing better. But at the same time, look at, they fit my payroll and they fit my requirements. And he came out to the conclusion, it is not necessary that he had to have all stars to be very good team, to be number one team. Not necessary at all. And any company can say, I don't have the treasury to print the bills and give it to me. So he didn't had unlimited payroll. So he has to have very few people, in the sense maybe one or two stars, or if no stars, can I build a team with non all stars? Can we do that? That was the question which has been achieved, or that was the problem that has been tackled and solved. Now look at the same thing from the perspective of recruitment. This, because I'm in data science field, this is what the recruitment says. Can you look at these recruitments? We are looking for the game changers, the best. We are looking for excellent knowledge. We are looking at somebody who has published a paper. We are looking at X, Y, Z and experienced technology leader. Those are all good. But when you have such a kind of team, what is the cost of having that team? How comfortable are you in telling that you take the responsibility that this team delivers? These questions will never be answered, because that kind of commitment, that kind of exposure or the evidence is not available, for simple reason, it has not been measured. If you can measure and see who is doing it, who should be recruited, who should be trained, who should be retained, which is nothing but the complete HR lifecycle analytics. Once we look at it, it becomes very clear. All these things, what we are doing, what we are asking for, you must be leader, you must know X, Y, Z. In fact, I was thrilled when I saw this, the bottom one. If we look at it, it simply says that it needs IT skill, it needs Python, it needs testing, it needs data science, machine learning, Tableau, Power BI. And in fact, if I extend it, it says Teradata, SQL, and all those things. In fact, for me, somebody like that, who is a unicorn, would not have been there for such kind of companies. It's very difficult to get such kind of company, resource. So what is that we are looking for? Somebody comes with a resume, and what we do, we conduct an interview. And when we conduct the interview, if we feel that his frequency is matching with my frequency, he will be selected. It's just a comfort factor. But do you know what the evidence says? Evidence is against all those things. In fact, Google evidence says that 99.4% of the time, in fact, in the first 10 seconds, whatever the, I get the impression That we are trying to confirm in 99.4% of the time of the interview. Interview is useless. It's a waste of time. Just by interviewing somebody for 5 hours, 6 hours, we are not getting best talent. It can only predict the success 14% of the time, not 100%. But actually the best predictor is work sample. At least in data science, in computer science and all, I can ask people to share their GitHub, share what exactly the work they have done, share the paper, share the code, share the data, how they are doing it. So this becomes easier. It's not that it cannot be done in a service field. Let us say that in building it is not, no, you can do such kind of work related samples in every field. Just we have to plan and we have to put that blueprint correctly. What should we look for? The second best predictor is cognitive ability. Can they think on the feet? Or does he need somebody to tell this is what you have to do and they will execute it? So we would like to see the cognitive ability of the participants. In fact, the cognitive ability and the previous work, that itself gives somewhere around 55 to 60% of the entire predictability. So I cannot measure how the interviewer did the interview, because if he's in a bad mood, he may reject that guy. So we can see that next. In fact, this one of the sociologists, which is a well-known sociologist on the net, she says that if I had gone with interview, analytics, blah, 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 and all those things, on my first day, I'd have been rejected. Straight away, I would have been rejected. But if it would have predicted me, my 1 year performance, I could have done better. In fact, the thing that we are looking at is predicting my 1 year performance. That exactly is the Moneyball in HR. What Billy Bean did to his Auckland team is what we would like to know for any HCM or a human resource team that is likely to be there in any type of the company. I'm not interested in differentiating that company as cognitive work, knowledge work, blue collar work. No, nothing to do with that. It's everything to do with how long they are committed for that particular work, what is their performance, what is their cognitive ability. So if we can do these things, it is possible for us to get into a strong team which is within the budget, which can work as a team, does not depend on the stars. That exactly is Moneyball in HR. Now, how do we do this? What exactly is needed to do this? Actually, another analogy, a simple analogy is, you heard about decathlon. It has been, it's a kind of sports which has been inspired by pentathlon. Pentathlon is a Greek sport where when they were not fighting, the Greeks, when they were not fighting, they were trying to participate in pentathlon, which included, kind of wrestling, then sport fighting, then jumping, then running and marathon and things like that, right? Which is a war imitation, and they wanted to keep all of that in tune. And it was a very good sport at that point of time. And subsequently, the current pentathlon and the extended octathlon, heptathlon, and decathlon, all of them are going for the kind of performance over multiple tasks. Do you think that a decathlon champion can beat Usain Bolt with in sprints, or possibly Sergei Bubka in pole vault? I don't think so. It is not possible. Actually, that is not the measure. They need not to be best in anything, any of those sports. What is required then? What is required then is a simple thing. They have to be good and consistent across all the 10 different sports. That's more than sufficient to win decathlon. In fact, the wiki and others say that they have been told the greatest athlete of the world. So that's what the king of Sweden told Sir Thorpe. Sir, you are the greatest athlete. So decathlon, they are not, they didn't, any of them haven't won any of the sprints, any of the high jump or long jump or short put or whatever it is. None of the games. They cannot participate individually in those games. But when it is combined, no other athlete, because it is both track and field games, a combination of this, they cannot do it. Only decathlon athletes can do that. That's why it's one of the toughest sports. And for me, the HR is like decathlon. You have to recruit finance, you have to recruit IT guys, you have to recruit operations guys, you have to recruit HR guys themselves. So any of the team, from the entry level position to maybe a senior level position, you'll be in a responsibility to get these people on board, search these people in the market, get them, train them, retain them, make sure that their performance is good. So this is what exactly HR does. Now, from that perspective, HR as an enterprise function is not for recruitment, not just for recruitment, is not just for kind of L&D, is not just for the let us say that kind of trade unions or IR related kind of work. So it is not just reward system, retain and reward system. It is not training and development. It is not just productivity. It's a combination of all of this. Now we have a problem. You talk to any HR team, you ask them, you ask anybody, they will say that what they're specialist in, they're specialist in recruitment, they're specialist in this, they're specialist in that. Okay, that is the operational level specialization, this is the operational excellence, but it has nothing to do with, there is no feedback, it has nothing to do with the analysis of the entire thing and synergy of this with the organizational goals. As of now, HR has been treated as a cost function. It is not a profit function. So is it so? Is it HR function are not adding any value? Actually, if you ask me, HR can become CEO. It is not necessary that we need a CEO, because you can tell as a HR, I can recruit people, I can fire people if they're not performing well. I can measure everything. I know what I'm trying to do, but that requires alignment of HR goals with the business goals, with the enterprise goals. Now, to do this, normally we try to go for analytics. What are the problems the analytics is trying to solve? What is that we would like to know in HR? Do you agree that you have problems here? So in fact, if you look at it, what is the preparedness of an organization and what is the importance? Now, if you look at it, most of the things which are marked in red, planning for future talent needs, what kind of talent is required, how many of them are required, and how do I fill those talent? How do I find that gap quickly? How do I develop the managers? How do I move from a executive to manager? How do I move a manager from a manager to senior manager to the leadership? How do I build the leadership bench? So normally it is assumed that if CEO is there, the succession planning is not needed. In fact, a resilient organization always have that. So if you look at this, we are unprepared. We are not at all prepared because we feel that there is no data. So that exactly is whenever we go and we ask why you are not able to implement HR analytics in your company, why HR is not data driven, they say that there is no data. And similarly, if we get into the high importance, high preparedness, for example, improving new hire quality doesn't take anything. It requires simple analysis, a template and simple analysis, because you have all the knowledge that is required to do this. Improving the employee engagement, you can engage the employee well, because any engagement is a human touch factor. You can do that better. And retaining the key employees. In fact, we do not want to retain every employee. In fact, that's a key to what we call as Moneyball in HR. Do you want to retain all the players? Do you want to retain the star players? Do you want to retain the players who are not doing well? Or you want to retain the players who are consistent, batting well, bowling well, taking more wickets, doing good? Who do you want to retain? That question is essential, and that has to be answered from multiple perspectives. It is not just, okay, tell me whether it's important or not from a project manager, from a project perspective, and try to retain them. And subsequently for next 10 projects, he may not be needed. You cannot drop him there because already you are retained. So if we try to have such kind of, okay, when he's needed, I will take him. When he's not needed, I will fire him. That will, bounce back. It will boomerang, because the brand image gets hammered. So we would like to reduce such kind of, that's one of the reason when we try to retain people who are not good, the entire team suffers. So we would like to see how can we do all of this with analytics. And generally we do that. So we try to go with multiple types of analytics, recruitment analytics. Now we would like to see, when it comes to recruitment analytics, we would like to see which channel is giving good lead time, which channel is going high quality resources. Maybe when I define high quality, I would like to see that somebody who is in the performance grade of 4 or 5 in next 2 years. If I can recruit him in the beginning itself, I'm doing very good recruitment. How do I know? Now, recruitment analytics, recruitment stops when the recruitment hands over the person to the line managers. After that, nothing happens. Now, when it comes to recruitment analytics, we would like to connect the recruitment, the channel, the candidate, the performance, and the manager, all of that in one spectrum. When I see that spectrum, if it looks like a rainbow to me, I'm interested. Yeah, it's good, it's working. When it looks black, I don't know anything. Recruitment guy says, I've recruited, I don't know what happens next. And subsequently, when it goes to the line manager says, you recruited a bad guy. Recruitment guy says, no, I have not recruited. You interviewed him. He says, I selected best out of available. No, that should not be there. Both microscopic and telescopic kind of views are essential. That's why we say that recruitment analytics is not recruitment analytics. It should not be handled as recruitment analytics as channel analysis. It should not be done as how many people I'm recruiting. It should not be just, kind of forecasting. It must be connected with all other functions of the enterprise. So that becomes a recruitment analytics. After that, you have to engage. After recruitment, it's not the end of it. So we would like to engage with them, and we would like to see this the employees' concerns are addressed. That's one of the important things. How do I know at the aggregate level what are the concerns of the employees? Because most of the times it is like yawning. The moment one employee says one complaint, 10 people will say they had that complaint, they had that concern, they had that grievance. In fact, how do we know what is the grievance? Current engagement is something like you can live with 10% grievance, because 10% of people always will have some one or the other problem. But if 50% of people say there is a problem, that has to be accepted. Whether it is right, they're right or wrong is not the question. It is not about being right or wrong, it's being profitable. So that's what's important. Are we looking at the profitability of the company by engaging with them, or because I have been shifted from China to Bangalore and I don't pay? So is that the kind of engagement we would like to do? I will outsource it. We will do something. I don't know. I do not want to be here for anything. So I would like to see that the engagement will result in better profitability and better engagement. It should not be a discipline, complete discipline, like you, if you want to stay here, otherwise, no, that's not the way. What is the best way? What has worked in the past? How we are engaging with them? So all these things need to be analyzed. Next is L&D analytics. How do I know somebody is to be trained on next technology? How somebody has to be upskilled? How somebody has to be cross-skilled? How do you know? Is it based on the manager's recommendation? As of now, most of the companies do not have any such data. For me, it is very easy. I would like to correlate the company profit with the salary I'm paying for those particular groups. That's all. At least at the macro level, at the highest level, it gives me that ratio generally should be 1:2. For every cost I have, my profit should be double. If not, there is some problem. That problem can be anywhere. I'm not pointing that it is the people problem, right? It can be market problem also. I don't know. But most of the time, if I can handle my internal people problem, the market problem can be handled by the marketing team. I need not have to worry about it. So L&D analytics is very essential. As of now, it is like, okay, I have a budget for 12 training in this year. All of you should go for 12 training, whether you need it or not. Everybody should go for it. 3 soft trainings or soft skill trainings, 4 hard skill trainings, and 2 executive training. No, that's not the way. Probably you're right. That's the way you're doing. But can you give me the data? Can you show that this has resulted in improvement in productivity? This has increased the profitability. This has reduced the time for doing particular things, the turnaround time. If you cannot give the data, I question the validity of L&D itself. Because for me, there is no sacred cow. There is no holy cow. So we slaughter everything that is visible to us, because holy cow is there only for us when we get into the religious orthodoxy. Beyond that, when he says that, no, 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 you should not touch all these things. No, only in God we trust. All others should give the data. Whether it is L&D analytics or anything, we would like to see the data. If it is working, yes, good. If it is not working, time to act. How do we do this? Next is the retention analytics. So L&D is done, still he is not performing well. Do you need him? Yeah, you need him. He is the key resource. He is not doing good. He is key resource. Something is wrong somewhere. We would like to see what is wrong where. For that, we should understand, is this person likely to leave? If you can predict well in advance, let's say that 6 months in advance, if you predict this guy is likely to leave, you will be in a better position to have some kind of backup for that particular resource. If not, if the recruitment lead time itself is around 3 months, he is leaving in 6 months, at least 3 months before you have to recruit. But if you start recruiting after he leaves, it will be another 3 months. By the time he becomes productive, another 3 months. So it means that literally we are losing 6 months. Can we plan the recruitment, connect recruitment with retention, with churn, with attrition? So that is essential. I cannot build an attrition model and say that this guy is going to leave, retain him. Everybody is going to leave, retain everybody. That is not the solution. The solution basically is to understand who is the candidate whom I would like to retain. And we should be answerable along with the line managers why I would like to retain him. Why recruiting another person to replace him is very costly. How can I do that? That's the question that we would like to answer with the retention analytics. But if you want to go for L&D, if you want to go for recruitment, if you want to go for retention, and if you want to engage, doing all these things should result in performance. If the performance is bad, all other activities are useless. So performance analytics forms the cornerstone of any such kind of HR analytics programs. If the performance is not known, because most of the time the performance is qualitative, at the end of 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, the manager will ask, give me self-rated index, give me peer rated index, give me the skip manager index, give me the manager index. Anything subjective like that is likely to give a perspective only, not a fact. It is not a fact. So any performance analytics should be measured against a measurable goal and actuals. So we have to have what a role has to perform in a given period of time. In fact, for us in software industry, we expect that every week we must be in a position to measure the performance. How many times he has checked in to my version control system? How many times his code has been reviewed? How many mistakes he has done? How many code reviews we use a 3-letter term, and how many such kind of 3-letter terms are there in this code? How good he is in coding? Is he a catalyst? Catalyst is still a subjective thing. But when it comes to performance of all these things, is he a team player? How many times he had nagging problems with his team, with his manager? So we would like to measure all these things. We would like to see, is there a harmony with this person? How can we increase the performance of this person? That may lead to L&D. So based on the performance, the L&D has to be managed. So currently, the all of this analytics is happening in silos. Can we integrate all of this? Then it becomes a spider's web. So many nodes, so many things. How do I do all these things? We will come to see that. That's where the Moneyball in HR is likely to affect everything. We will look at that. So now, how do we do this? As I told you, when we look at the Moneyball in HR, we would like to have two groups of analytics. The first group is pre-recruitment analytics. The second one is post-recruitment analytics. So pre-recruitment analytics, the metric that we are looking at will be some kind of the quality of recruitment. After 1 year, his performance is in 4 or 5, the quality is good. After 1 year, if the quality of the performance of that particular person is in 1, the quality is not good, especially if it's a costly resource and the senior management resource. If the quality is not good, the whole team suffers. So we would like to see what is the quality of recruitment. How do we improve this quality of recruitment? The post, after you recruited, okay, you recruited, you don't know what is the quality of the recruitment, you don't know what that person is going to do, but you can do intervention. You can do preemptive intervention. That is possible. That is possible when we get into performance analytics. In the performance analytics, it will lead to either retention or engagement or L&D. So all of this are post-recruitment analytics. So we have grouped these together, and these are the two layers. Before recruitment and after recruitment, we would like to do the analytics. Now, normally people say, when I ask why you are not using analytics, why you are not using things like we say, they say that, yeah, in theory, everything works, but in practice, it is not. But actually, it is not so. In practice, everything is working, but we don't know how to explain it. So the reason for not using the Moneyball in HR or Moneyball or the HR analytics itself has nothing to do with data. Basically, it has something to do with the culture and the mindset. If we have, okay, let me test it, let me experiment it. It's a different culture altogether. When the culture of experimentation is not there, you can see there is a problem. I would like to have the HR analytics as a vanity, as a good to have, but I don't use it. It is useless. The moment we start using the analytics to drive all our actions, things will start to happen. So that's why we say that first try to have a business case. Why you want to use analytics? Because everybody is doing analytics, you want to do analytics? That's not good. You should know why you want analytics. The second is fragmented ownership, like recruitment analytics stops, the L&D analytics stops, and they're on their own stacks, right? They will not talk to each other. There is no a unified mechanism in which everybody knows this is what is to be done. Then recently there is one buzzword, in fact since 2 years it is dying down, big data, right? In fact, trust me, Google has proved big data in HR analytics is bad data. It is not making big data, but converting that big data into smart data, which is small and actionable. It should be driving for you to do some action. In fact, in most of the training, we say that all analytics is action. If there is no action, it is not analytics. It is some insight. 90% of people come to office wearing uniform. Good. So what? Is it an action? There is no actionability. There is no actionability. If we say that the day he is not wearing the uniform, he is performing better, can you work better? Is there any insight which says that when he is not wearing the uniform, he is doing better? When he is wearing the uniform, he is not doing better. That anomaly is actionable. And we would like to experiment. Randomly ask some people not to wear the uniform and come in casual dress and try to see whether that observation is really correct or not. If that observation is really correct, then I don't know why do we need uniforms. Then they will say that it is to identify. So what is important? Is it identification of people in the uniform or is the performance of the people? The question is left to the management. I do not want to answer that question, but there is a business case. There is a business case. So currently, there is no analytics that is going on. If I ask anybody, in fact, I was always worried when somebody says, are you using analytics? Yes, I'm using data mining. What are you using? I'm using reporting. I'm using dashboard. I'm using pivot tables. Yeah, they're all analytics, but can you take the responsibility for your actions? Can you show the ROI? If you cannot show the ROI, there is no analytics in your company. There is no analytics anybody is using. So analytics should drive profit, should drive productivity, should reduce the cost, should improve the safety, should reduce the time to do XYZ things. If it is not doing, if it is not actionable, it is not analytics. And that has to be deconstructed, and that needs a business case. These are the reasons for not using it. Now, if we do all these things, then what is that Moneyball that we are trying to do? Can we remember what exactly is Moneyball? Moneyball uses only one metric, consistency. Actually, it adds to the cost and the consistency. He must be consistent and he must be economical, not very costly. So these are the two metrics that has been used by Moneyball. How can you use the similar kind of thing for HR? That exactly is the work we are doing since 2 years. Earlier, we used to do it as academic activity. Subsequently, we have tried it in companies and it's working fine. We would like to share that with you, how exactly we are working, what is not working, what can be addressed. Okay, also, I would like to add one meme which says that just by using analytics, you should not make people to be driven by number. You have to take 10 steps, then you have to move right 5 steps, and then you have to breathe 3 times. No, you should not become automated. That is not the reason to use analytics. It is to empower people. to feel good that they are doing the best that is possible from them and improve that best every time. And that's where we should be using HR analytics and the Moneyball. That's what we are interested in. There's only one metric that we are looking for, as I told you. That metric is employee lifetime value. In fact, if you look at it, the employee lifetime value is calculated based on how long he will be with me, what is the cost of retaining him, what is the revenue that I can expect from him. These three should be possible. If these three are not possible, we are hiring for the wrong reason. So we should know what is the cost. In fact, people say that, no, I cannot compute the cost. Impossible. Impossible. You are paying him the salary. You start with that. It is not necessary that you have to go to the micro level and say to the last 10 decimal places, you have to compute what is the cost of that particular employee. No, it is not necessary. Just start with what is his salary, what is his CTC, and what is the revenue per employee. That ratio has to be increased. So expected revenue divided by cost should be more than 1. Then the company is in profitable mode. So we are looking at that. Okay, you say that, yes, my employee cost is low, my expected revenue is high, it's all doing good, but there is a time bomb. That time bomb is voluntary churn. In fact, I will come back to that. We have to do involuntary churn also. It is not that we don't do the forced churn. We don't do the forced attrition. We do that. But we had to be aware of voluntary churn, voluntary attrition. That's the most dangerous thing for the profitability of the company. Especially when the person who is the key, he leaves, the change of guard changes the whole stuff. And we would like to be resilient for any change because we do not want to be dependent on people. We would like to build the systems. When we build the systems, good people will be there in the system. When the system depends on one person, it becomes dangerous one. When the system is dependent on people and trains the people to be good, to be synchronized, to be harmonized, it's a good system. And the only metric that we are looking at in Moneyball is employee lifetime value. Whenever the employee lifetime value is high or low or in between, we would like to do some action. And that is dependent on the performance. Now, for the time being, I will not talk about performance because I have my own opinion about performance, how performance has to be measured and all, how currently it is measured. So it is questionable, controversial. Even my opinions are controversial, questionable. So there is no right or wrong answer. In fact, when we train you or train anybody in analytics, we say that forget about all the models. All models are wrong. Some models are useful. So what you want to do? In fact, my teacher used to say, Bhartish, it is not who is right. It is who is left which matters. At the end of the day, who is right is not useful. What is useful, even if it is wrong, if it is useful, it is better to use it. We should not be having the filter of only when I am right, I will do. You are right, but you are not useful for the company. You are draining all the energy for the company. How can I have you? No, I'm not telling it should be illegal and things like that. Everything within the legal framework, within kind of humanity framework, if everything is settled, then there is no reason for being right and not useful. It is better, even if it is wrong, you can be useful. We would like to identify them. That's based on the performance score. And that leads to what we call as Moneyball in HR. Basically, we are trying to identify the consistent performers at an economical rate who will give the profit to the company. That is Moneyball in HR. In fact, this one of the results, what you have done, we had taken, we worked with the company and we had this data. When we analyzed, we found that if we plot the performance against the ELTV can be low or high. The performance can be 0 to 4, right? So in such cases, you can see that in every segment, there are people with low performance 0, 1, 2, and high performance 3 and 4, and people with low ELTV and high ELTV. What do we do with them? So if we look at it, one of this, the first one, segment 1 is, kind of less than 5 years of experience. The segment 2 is 5 to 10 years of experience, and segment 3 is kind of senior management. Now, if we can see the number of people who have got low performance and low ELTV in the higher segment is very difficult, because if the manager is not performing, he may ask to be leave, right? He may ask to leave. That's the thing. So that's what we expect, and that's what has been done. So now these type of things is what we would like to have from actual factual data. When the data speaks this is not necessary, this is not cast in stone that this has to be done like this only and this is what is to be applied. This is what we observed is useful for an organization from the HR perspective. HR can give this information to the top management, to the line managers, to the CXOs, and they can take a decision. They have the fact, they have the evidence, they have the insight, what is to be done, what should not be done. In fact, normally we don't say what should not be done, we say what can be done. Looking at that, what can be done? Now no, actually this has to be reversed a little bit. So if we look at the high performance, the ELTV is low, then we have to retain them. So ELTV is very low, but the performance is high, we would like to retain them. And if the ELTV is low and the performance is also low, then we have to let them go. Some action has to be taken. And this is what is to be presented to the top management, to the CXOs, to the line managers. So this has to be done by the HR team. This is where the ELTV plays an important role. As I told you, we are looking at only one metric. Probably we will add the second metric like they were adding. So ELTV, because it contains the revenue and cost, the performance, right? Even if he's poor performer, but he's having good ELTV, then we would like to retain them, right? There's a possibility that we can train them to perform well. But in the case when the ELTV is low, the cost is high, we are not interested. That's not a good thing, right? We would like to see who is doing that, where can we draw a line. Now, if this is the money ball in HR, this is what is to be done. How do we do this? How do we move this? Basically, it is to identify and define and measure what is to be measured. We are not looking for hundreds of data points for this. We are looking for about 12 to 15 data points which can be easily measured within any organization. So once that is done, we assume that some reports are there. You can see what is happening, what is not happening. Then we would like to see you have the real dashboards, not some kind of graphs that will be available to you, but are the dashboards giving any insight, telling you to act? If these two factors are there, it is giving insight. This guy is good, he's living, and he earns you more money if you retain him. Such kind of information, insight is given and makes you to act. It's a good dashboard. To do that, you have to move towards business analytics. So implement HR analytics in your organization, or try to understand how you can see a different perspective from operations, from strategy to actually tactics. In fact, if you can build the analytics, it will be between strategy and execution. So what will you do when you build a strategy? You have to execute it. You execute it, what will you do? You have to measure and analyze whether your strategy is working or not. That's why we say that the tactics are between the strategy and execution. All this business analytics, all this HR analytics is tactical in nature. So you would like to see, you do not want to say, how many are to be recruited this year. You have to see how many are to be recruited this year for this particular role at this salary level, month on month. That is tactical. It is not operational. It is not strategic. So we would like to see business analytics or HR analytics as the tactical, kind of function that is to be embraced, that is to be practiced by the HR professionals. Now, if we do this, yeah, we may get benefits. Are you sure that I can get this? What are the things that are required for us? What is needed to do this? We can do Moneyball in HR with three things. Data, it can be multi-source data. It is multi-structured. For example, you can draw something from HRMS, you can draw something from your Excel, you can draw something from your LMS. So all of that data has to be combined. And you have the domain knowledge. That's more important. In fact, you can live without analytics, but if you are living without domain knowledge, the question is you need it, or you need it in the function? No, no way. So your domain knowledge, your tribal knowledge, what you carry, what should be done, what should not be done, how you reason, what is the reasoning behind your decision, all of this is used for testing all analytics we do. That's essential. Then we bring the artificial intelligence, blah, 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 and all those things that's available, because hardly, normally I say that there are only three things that we do. The first is profile, the second is predict, the third is identify the anomalies. So if we do these three things, everything is okay in analytics. But what will you do with that? That depends on your domain knowledge. What is the action that is to be taken? How that is to be implemented? All of that comes from domain knowledge. So once we combine all these things, we get evidence-driven, automated analytics, which is nothing but Moneyball in HR. That's exactly what we are trying to drive home. It is possible. It is possible. You can see a demo. Possibly you can visit the race once, and you can see how exactly it has been implemented, and you can see the working model there. Now, what do you get? You get a lot of things. The first is dashboard. Normally, a dashboard will be some graph, blah, blah. No, actually, it is not. It gives you insight. It gives you actionability. Next is statistical control. You want your churn or your attrition should be between less than 7%, less than 2%, less than 1%. That is statistical control. So if you know that your attrition rate is likely to increase by 5% by next 3 months, you can preempt it, you can act it now, you can arrest it. So that's what we are looking at. Next is rule-based analytics. You observe something, you want to test it, right? We call it a hypothesis testing, blah, 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 right? You can see that all later. So you can test your hypothesis. It can be gender diversity, it can be, salary parity, blah, blah, blah. Any of that can be tested. Then will be advanced analytics. You try to identify the patterns that are there, which are helpful, which are actionable, right? Then you'll find the anomalies. Anomalies are interesting, at the same time very risky. So we would like to handle the anomalies. So once all these things are there, your domain feedback with amplified knowledge, because your knowledge will be tested, your knowledge, your assumptions, everything will be tested. Either you have to change your belief or you have to change your data. What happens if you change your data? Everything goes for a toss. You have to change your belief. Your knowledge will be amplified once you implement Moneyball in HR analytics. So in nutshell, in summary, what I would like to say is, if you want to implement HR analytics, start with employee lifetime value as one of the things. In fact, if you ask me, if you want to implement only one thing, implement ELTV. It's controversial, it's questionable, but still I stick by that. Stick to that in the sense that we say that, okay, I'm working with a profit sharing model. If whatever I say works, you pay me, otherwise don't pay me. That's the confidence we are bringing, because we are seeing that in the field. So thank you for giving time. If you have any questions, I will take the questions for another 15 minutes. Maybe I have only 6 minutes or so. Please feel free.
There is a research scholar who has asked about what kind of topic that, from a research perspective, that she can do. This is from Spandana. That which area of research is interesting in HR analytics?
HR analytics itself is interesting. In fact, in every area, for example, if you look at recruitment, we are looking at funnel analytics. As of now, the recruitment funnel is just a funnel. It is not informative at all to me. So can you do a research, and can you tell me from which particular dimension it is good? From the channel perspective, from the cost perspective, from the quality perspective, from which perspective it is good? So that itself can be a research. Like that, there are hundreds of problems. Please connect with us in RACE. Certainly, we are interested to take this further. There are plenty of areas.
Suresh, who is our own participant, has a very interesting question. He says there could be a skilled team member, but he is on the bench. So how do we help? HR analytics can help him because he is skilled but don't have projects.
Oh, in fact, that requires a mind shift. Somebody who is skilled but is on bench is the problem with the company's planning and things like that. HR analytics can really find that gap. So what kind of, if he's skilled, how do we know he's skilled? He would have done XYZ, which can be used for associating him with one of the project which requires similar kind of skill. So if somebody is skilled but is not used in any of the project, probably the company may not have the project. That possibility is rare. But in the cases where the skilled person is not used, there is a possibility that it may be an anomaly. So that anomaly will be reflected in your dashboard. Somebody has to be responsible for that, and HR analytics brings that out. this person belongs to this manager, he has these skills, this project needs this particular thing, but he is not used there. There must be some reason why it, I don't know what is the reason, but the dashboard should bring out that insight. If the dashboard is not bringing that insight, it is not a good dashboard.
So one of the question is that can we apply this in, I am just trying to change the wordings, what Karnam Shekhar has put is, can we apply this in private engineering colleges?
Absolutely.
That's the question.
Yeah. So there is a problem with educational, institutions in India. For me, the way in which the performance is measured, the metrics are measured, are little bit skewed because it is so subjective that it's very difficult for us to measure that. The one thing that we may have to do is re-engineering the data model for performance measurement. If that can be done, certainly the HR analytics can be applied in anything. Like I said, it can be from implementing it in a BBMP scavenging to the NASA. Everywhere we can apply this.
Yeah. Maybe we'll also talk about a little more because this is REVA University and we always believe, like Dr. Simha's quote, if I can take, that we have to eat the same dog food that we are prepared, right? So, but what we see here in any university system is that the data mart or the data management or the domain understanding is not implemented while creating the different metrics or identifying the metrics or even the process. So it is HR analytics only will work if we also get into the process itself, right? So I think those are the areas that we need to look at. Just not applying analytics mindlessly will not give an answer. Another question is that Rajanna has asked us that if the managers or third parties feedbacks are, how do we ensure it is not biased towards an employee?
So, like I said, bias is subjective. So, if it is not to be biased, certainly a system which is very objective, which measure the performance in terms of the deliverables. In fact, any bias is, kind of a communication bias, or possibly I don't want to get into different biases, but bias is subjective. So, any system that is very objective in nature will measure only the performance, right? In terms of the inter-team communication, within the team communication, and the individual performance in deliverables on time and the cost. So there is a very possibility the organization which is going with such kind of biases is likely to have a subjective system rather than an objective system.
I think the last question we have is an interesting question. How do I continue my research in ELTV? So please connect with us. We have done some work with the help of Dr. Simha here in a few companies, and we would be extremely happy if we can look at the possibilities of PhD in this area. So I would quickly take you all through what we do here at RACE in HR analytics area. Like Dr. Simha said, this is going to be a combination. We have a program where you can learn about how to apply HR analytics in your organization. So we would teach you the required concepts and applications and the labs and the practicals. But we will also help you to implement an ELTV model in your organization. So it is twin part. That means there is a program part of it as well as a implementation part of it. And this is going to be a 3 months duration that we would talk about. And those who are very new to the applying HR analytics, we would take them through starting with, say, why to apply HR analytics. And here again, as Dr. Simha said, we don't talk in silos. We talk on behalf of enterprise, applying HR to add value to the organization in a holistic level. So we would connect all the siloed functional areas of HR to the organizational strategy and uh, identify the right metrics and processes. We use CRISP-DM in all our work as a framework. and creating the right data mart. So I think one of the questions on how do we have to set this up, the whole idea, maybe we have to go back and see what kind of data to be collected on the entire employee life cycle spectrum. Starting from there, how to set up a data mart, and it is not need not be intimidating. We could start small, taking say 4 or 5 variables in each functions, and then create the data mart, develop the right KPIs and metrics, develop a dashboard. So we would use say some of these dashboard tools ranging from Power BI to Tableau. So there would be sessions on those. We would also, as Dr. Simha said, rule-based methods of developing some of the hypothesis testing. An interesting analogy he just mentioned, that wearing uniform for the sake of it or wearing uniform to improve the productivity. These are the things that if you have data, you can always test and then develop further insights. And next is that we would use a series of low code. So in HR analytics, we don't use advanced coding. We would use very minimal coding. So that is why we would use say real stats, IBM, SPSS or Orange, ClickSense, StatsCraft kind of tools here. And then we would help you to go through multiple machine learning methodologies to build predictive models. And that is where the concepts and the basics of applying HR analytics would stop. Then we would take up a very, very interesting set of about 5 to 6 use cases, functional driven, starting from recruitment analytics, attrition risk scoring, L&D optimizing ROI, role fitment, and moving on to the final performance-driven ELTV model is what we would help you to develop in the class with senior industry mentors, using the right data sets, using the right tools, and we would develop that skill sets as part of this program. This program is already been we have been running this. This is going to be our 5th batch, which is starting now. We have seen great enthusiasm among the HRs who are attending this, from 3 years of experience to 25 plus years of experience. People are going through this program and have implemented back in the organizations and have added value to the organization. So that's what we believe in. And we also help the companies with the mentoring support if they want to apply analytics in that organization. We use very, very interesting pedagogy. It is all practical, it's all data driven, it's all tool driven. We use 5+ tools. We are not limited to any of the specific pedagogy. We are continuously experimenting. We are looking for exciting, interesting use cases to build. So we have, for this program, we have developed about 5+ very, very interesting, very customized use cases, which you will get access to. And this is also in association with Jigsaw, so you will get access to their HR analytics program in the same cost. There would be a specific learning kit. We have 24/7 support with online LMS, and there is placement support also if needed. So that is about the program. And since some of your questions are on, I'm just reading some of the questions. I think I think somebody has already asked how to join this program. So the next slide, we would do a small wind up, and we really thank you all for connecting with us. So we look forward to hearing from you. Please connect with us if you want to know more about how to implement a Moneyball in or ELTV in your organization, or you are interested in the program, or you are interested in a very specific use cases, or you are interested in research. Please connect with us.